Hey y'all, I'm going to try to do this video. Hopefully this will be my last one of the night. Hopefully I'll remember all of the essential details so that I can get this review done and do it right. So, on the last episode of Pose, a lot happened. Electra's regular client came in and he wanted to introduce a new toy, which was like a gas mask or whatever, and it's the type where you can put drugs into it and let it seep into your system little by little. And so he was like, oh yeah, I have this and I want to implement this into it. And she was like, look, I got down with you the first time with all that. I don't want to do it again. Every time he flashes money, she'd just be like, okay, whatever. That's going to be an extra $300 or $350 on top of what you giving me per hour. All right, cool. And so he was like, well, can you give me 20 minutes to let it, kick in? And so she was like, sure. So she went and lounged around. And when she came back in there, she was, doing her little dominatrix act. And the man wouldn't respond. Y'all, this man died of something terrible. He choked on his own vomit. And since she had him bound and all that, he was tied up or handcuffed. So it's not like if he had started to choke a little bit, he would have been able to be like, oh, wait a minute, this doing too much. Let me take it off or do something with the valve. He had no way to do anything because he was handcuffed. So he sat up there and died, and she's in her feelings like, oh my gosh, like she's mortified at this point. Y'all, tell me why the first thing this helper did was went and ran to Blanca's house. She done rushed in the woman's house and was like, I gotta talk to you. Is anybody here? And so nobody was at the house. She was like, oh good, I gotta talk to you about something. So she ended up telling her the situation. And so she was like, what do I need to do? She was like, you need to call the police. She was like, what? Are you crazy? They're gonna automatically say it's my fault and I'm gonna get locked up. And so she was like, I'm trying to tell you, you need to call the police. Blanca likes to know details. She like me, I need to know details too. And so, she was like, well, how long has he been dead and all this other stuff? Y'all, she was just like, look, I don't even want to talk to you no more. I'm going to go find Candy because Candy will know what to do. You ain't telling me what I want to hear right now. So Blanca ended up being like, girl, no. So she ended up following her. She grabbed her coat and left and followed her. Candy is a stripper. She was following her. She was like, Candy strips? I didn't know she was a stripper. She was like, well, how else do you think she's going to make money? So Candy is literally on the pole at this moment, and she rushed in and she was like, Candy, I need to talk to you. So she looked at her like, girl. And so she like flashed some money at her, and so she slowly walked over there and was like, what? So she went in the back where the girls get dressed at, and she was talking to her, and she told her the situation. And Candy was like, girl, you going to jail. I was like, oh gosh. Y'all got to the point where she was like, look, I know somebody that can fix this situation for you, but you gotta have cash, you gotta have the money. And so Blanca the whole time is trying to be like, girl, do not do this to yourself. Don't do it. You're gonna go to jail. You need to call the police. Time is ticking. This man done been dead for how long? You're gonna look more guilty because you have not called the police. So she was just like, girl, ain't nobody trying to hear what you're talking about. And I mean, even at one point in time, she was kind of like, well, maybe I need to talk to her. I don't know. And so they ended up going back to Blanca's house and discussing it further, and she had her and another woman there, and they were talking, and it got to the point where she was like, can I talk to you by yourself? So she took Blanca to the side and was like, girl, I know this is your house and all, but I need for you to go to your room. So she looked at her like, what? She was like, look, we about to get into some deep stuff, and I don't want you to get your hands dirty. The less you know, the better for you. So she actually did go to her room, and I was like, girl, this is too much. For you to have to go to your own room in your house while other random people in there plotting and scheming lies. This is too much for me. I was tired. Okay, so y'all, the other person that was brought in when they were at Blanca's house is this woman who is a lady of the night. It's a trans woman, and Candy was like, look, somebody's been in the situation that you might be facing, Electra, so I'm gonna let you hear from her. Because if it was me, I'd be gone and he'd be gone and I ain't got time to go to jail. So they ended up going to her. The woman was on the street, like she was walking the street. And they were like, you know, can we talk to you? And so she was like, you can pay me for my time. So they ended up picking her up and taking her back to Blanca's house. And they were talking. So she ends up telling them about how, like a year ago, or however long it was ago, she was doing a John, giving him a simple BJ. And it got to a point where I guess his conscience was getting the best of him. He was feeling insecure in his masculinity or whatever it is, you know how they do. And he got in his feelings, and then he was like, tried to say she was all toothy. And so she was like, ain't nobody ever told me I was toothy. Like, everybody usually live for her skills. So she was like, no, that ain't what it is. So since he wanted to sit up there and try to pull her car, and he hit her, and you know, they start fighting in the car. So then they end up getting into the street. Like, he's in the back of his car, getting all this done. Y'all, the police just so happened to roll up while they were in the street. He was beating her down. And so they got out, they were like, what's going on here? Y'all, they pulled him to the side. First of all, she was black and white, so they're already, and this is the 90s. So even though this wasn't back in segregation and all that stuff, those days where it was really Jim Crow to the fullest and all that, all the segregation laws and all that stuff was in full effect, it was still bad in the 90s. And he sat up there and made up a lie talking about how he had offered to take her or give her a ride home or something, and she was trying to rob him. So they ended up throwing her in jail. I was like, that's trifling. That's so trifling. So I get why. I mean, well, I don't know if y'all know, but a lot of trans women have been getting killed. Like, even if they ain't doing nothing and men are pursuing them, they sit up there and act as if when it started getting hot in the kitchen, they want to sit up there and act like they don't know what's going on. And they'll sit up there and be like, oh no, and they'll kill them. And then a lot of people are like, oh well, it was just a trans person anyway, one less one of those in the world. And it's like, y'all really be trying it. Like, you ain't gotta kill nobody. Just go and live in your truth instead of sitting up there trying to live for other people. Y'all, anyway. So I get all sides of it. I try to be on the side of y'all. I kind of try to be like Blanca when it comes to stuff like this. I would have been like, girl, you need to call the police. But at the same time, you know the day and time that we living in. And these people are black. And Electric is dark skinned. She's dark skinned. She ain't light skinned. She ain't my color. She's dark. And she's a trans woman. So despite the surgery that has happened, ain't nobody trying to hear nothing what she talking about, because she was born as a male and they gonna be like, no, you going to jail. So they ended up going with the idea that Kandi came up with, which is that she knows this woman who has gotten rid of people before, and she actually has done butt injections, illegal butt injections. Apparently she still does them or whatever, but there was this one girl, and I think she had a heart attack and died, and so she got rid of the girl. Y'all, she takes cash. Girl, apparently her and Kandi are not on the best of terms like that, and she was in an argument with her, so she was like, if you're a friend of hers, I'm definitely not finna help you. And I was like, Lord Herbert, what is going on? What happened? Did she steal your man? Is that what happened? What happened? Because don't nobody don't nobody like Pray Tell get into it with her every week. Like, don't nobody like Kandi. I was like, girl, what you be doing to these people? So anyway, it got to the point where she was like, look, I don't care nothing about y'all petty beef. My life is the one at stake here. I ain't trying to go to jail. Here go the money. So money talks. So she took that money and was like, look, I'm gonna need a few items and all this other stuff. And so then she ends up asking, like, how tall is he, how big is he, and all this other stuff. So they're looking like, why do you know all that? So she was like, because I need to know how big of a suitcase I need to bring. Y'all, they ended up going to the place, and so she was like, we got like either 4 or 2 hours until the cleanup crew comes in to clean the room for the next, situation that's gonna go off in there. So They had to hurry up and get his body out of there. So they ended up getting his body out of there and putting it in the suitcase. The woman, I think she's a trans woman too, the woman who's doing the job. She got his body and she somehow got it in some suitcase. I was like, Lord, y'all doing the most. So outside of this situation that's going on, Angel is hoping that she has gotten the Ford models thing, and she actually didn't get it. She's in her feelings about it. Poppy is always encouraging her, like he really always lifts her up and all that. So it got into it where he was like, well, you know, you deserve the world, all this other stuff. And they had a moment where they kissed, and I was just like, oh, this is what we doing, cool. And see, his dream is always to be with her because he sees her as like this amazing person outside of just being a friend and, you know, sibling. Anyway, so he was like, you know, I want to take you out and all this other stuff. And so he actually was able to get a reservation at this really, really, really classy place. And tell me why. She was looking for something to wear, and one of the children was like, why are you setting it off for him like this? Like, Poppy is not on your level. I don't even understand why you're going through all this trouble. Because she was just like, oh my God, should I wear this? Should I wear that? Like, she really was like trying to decide for real what she was gonna wear. And the old boy was just like, you doing too much. You are way up here. He's nowhere near your level. I don't know why you're putting all this energy into him. So anyway, she had this cute little pink number, hot pink number. And she ends up getting a phone call. And it's the woman who interviewed her before, and like I said, she didn't get the contract, but they were like, look, we need you to come over here. So she went, she in the waiting room, and so she ends up going in there to see the woman. The woman was like, you know, not Blanca. Angel was like, I don't know why you need to see me. I already didn't get it, so I don't understand. So even though she had her feelings and she's salty, the woman was like, look, I have a client. They're looking for something special, something unique. And I told them that I feel as though I know someone who can fill that void. And so Wet n Wild was having some kind of a photo shoot for some new line of products that they had coming out with eyeliners and all that stuff. And she was going to be the face of it. So she was like, what? Are you serious? My face is going to be everywhere so all the girls can see it. So she was like, yeah. So she was like, when am I supposed to be there? So she was like, you're already late. So she gave her the information and she went over to the shoot. Keep in mind, this is like right before she's supposed to go out on her date with Poppy. Y'all, it kept showing Poppy later on, because I think the dinner was like at 7:30 or 8 or something like that. He's waiting outside of the place because wherever the place is, he had to get reservations, and he pulled all kinds of strings, because you know, he ain't got it like that. He has a job. He has gone legit. But yeah, he ain't got it like that. He doing the most to get reservations, because there are people who actually are high class. Apparently they can't get reservations at a place like that. Y'all, I'm just like, girl, why couldn't you have called the house and said, hey, tell him that I need to reschedule. I got this unexpected gig that is going to take my career to the next level. I will find a way to make it up to him. She didn't call the house. She didn't say nothing. She just went straight over to the gig. I get it, but girl, you could have called when you got there, before you left. You could have been like, can I use your phone for just 30 seconds? And I would have called and left a message and then went on by my business. Anyway, back to Elektra and her situation. So the woman needed lye. She needed like this pleather. She needed all kinds of stuff to like clean the area. They ended up taking the body back to Elektra's house. And she explained to her like, look, he's going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life. So what you're going to do is we're going to do all this stuff, and we got to sew this up. Like, they poured lye all on him to kill the smell. What the smell going to happen, because eventually he's going to decay and all this other stuff. And they got pleather so that they could, you know, bind him up and have him in like a cocoon state. And once they do all that, once they're finished and they sew it up, he's going to be placed in a trunk of hers, and wherever she goes, that's where he'll be. Because, I mean, that's the only thing that she can do. People are going to be looking for him, but, you know, hopefully it won't be too bad. because he got passed up. See, what happened was he was in his feelings because he got passed up on a job that he thought he was going to get. So he was in his feelings, and you know, his favorite pastime is being with Elektra anyway. So he was in there ready to spend up all his money. So I feel like the worst that they will feel like has happened, anybody who's actually looking for him, is he got mad that he got passed over for this job opportunity, and he left town, and he's just in his feelings somewhere finding himself. There ended up being a very, very small write-up of him, and not a big story like it probably would have been had his body still been left in that place, y'all. So anyway, they've cocooned him and all that, and you know, it just is what it is. He is there for the rest of the time in her trunk, and she says that it's in her feelings. She's in her feelings. She prayed over his body and all that stuff, and you know, you could tell how deep in her feelings she is. Like it's pretty heavy, because she never meant for that situation to happen. And I was just like, Lord, y'all. Angel finally came home, and Poppy, I don't know if he was lying about this part or not, but he said that he had picked up some extra shifts. I think he was lying, because he was at the place, unless he was waiting and then that didn't happen and then he went to work. Anyway, he was saying that he picked up these extra shifts, and you know, she didn't show. So she was actually in the house explaining to everybody how everything went and all this other stuff. So he comes in, and so he says to Blanca, hey Mom, sorry I'm late, I picked up an extra shift at wherever the job is that he worked. So they ended up talking one-on-one. Blanca kind of made it like, let me go make your plate. And so Damon, or whatever the boy's name is, that was telling her that she can do better than him, he was like, oh, well, let me go help Mom. So they were talking one-on-one, and you know, he was like, you know, I'm very happy for you, I'm genuinely happy for you. And he was like, you know, you had me waiting, I was waiting on you, I was excited and all this other stuff. And so she was like, you know, this is my dream come true, this is my dream. And he was like, I understand all that, but you're my dream, you don't understand. And I hope that one day you will allow me to show you the kind of man that I am, and that I really am good enough for you, because you probably don't see me like that. Y'all, it was so good. I was just like, oh, it's so sweet. It really is. Y'all, so the end of the episode came. They are looking. They are in the drugstore looking to see where Angel is. They looking all around the store, and they found it. Her face is front and center. I am so happy for her, y'all. She has made it, and like, she is just like, oh my gosh, y'all. It was good. That was a good episode to me. So anyway, hopefully if you watched the show, it was a good episode for you too. And it was just, you know, outlining Angel and Elektra's journey this time. So I hope y'all have a good evening, and I'll talk to y'all later.